Now here.
There we are.
There, do that before I forget about it.
Oh, Matt wants all the juicy behind the scenes goss.
Oh,
Goss.
what's
Gossip.
happening? Do I know something?
Probably not.
What don't you know?
Circle.
Yeah, you know about the circle. Okay, sorry, I'm just looking at my last
It's
meeting
the
still.
circle of life.
All right.
That's right. I fucked a
Circle is
lion.
complete.
Don't talk to me about circles right now.
Which one do you
What's
say
happening with
first?
circles?
You said
I'm
don't
playing a
mess with.
PlayStation game, but it's decided to make me use the American buttons instead of the Japanese. So my X and my circle are switched. Even though the whole game is in Japanese because it's Yakuza.
I was like,
So it's very confusing.
doesn't Dark Souls kind of do that, or was that just
Dark Souls has its own weird, but Dark Souls doesn't play by anything else's rules, so I don't really worry too much with
right?
Dark Souls.
That actually fucked with me because a lot of the games over here now have adopted the Japanese thing where I'm like used to that now. And Dark
Okay.
Souls remastered, I got that and it was like press, what was it, B? And I'm just like, what the fuck?
No, my PlayStation is Japanese, so it usually defaults to that.
So I just finished my 77-hour playthrough of Death Stranding
Nice.
this morning. It fucking ruled. I'm gonna have to go, and I've never really dedicated myself to a Kojima game before, except for Metal Gear on the NES, which I beat somehow.
Wow. I've never
Um,
beat the NES one, but I beat the MSX one.
I'm pretty sure I had a magazine that told me where the floor holes were, but
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and do all of them now because I'm like completely obsessed.
Oh, so yeah, some of them are absolute bangers.
Yeah,
And
that
even the
was
bad ones are like they're weird in unique ways.
yeah. I mean, it was insane, but also just yeah,
Yeah.
so fucking good.
No, I'm gonna play it eventually.
That's
I
the
mean,
thing
it's
there.
borderline a movie, so we should just do an episode on it one day.
I mean, I barely had time to watch this episode because I got to the end this morning, which meant like 6 hours of cutscenes.
I'm playing
Please
Yakuza and it started
end.
with 20 minutes of cutscenes.
Hell yeah.
I
I need to do one of those. I think I'm going to start with like a dragon.
mean, that's the thing that
Oh, Like a Dragon's the turn-based one, so I don't want to. I'm not sure if I'm going to play that one.
I played my first Persona game like 6 months ago, which is
Nice.
Persona 4, which is basically like hanging out in the city where you guys live.
Yep.
So I just want to go straight into the Persona Yakuza game. But
what are they in a medium-sized city or something?
Yeah. The Persona 4 set in the countryside.
Ah,
Five set
okay.
in Tokyo. I don't know about three, and then one and two don't even exist. One of my
one and
students was
two,
trying to
and like
explain it to me.
yeah, they're called like Memories Persona or something like that. But they're just
I knew it was a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, but like it doesn't even start with Persona 1. It's just like something else, Persona 3.
yeah.
It's like
And
Rambo.
I think it's something like an auto, like a SMT game that plays itself somehow. I don't even know.
Hold on, I'm
Anyway,
checking my level really quick before we jump in.
just before you guys logged on, I had a nice fisting joke. So
Oh, that's too loud,
That's
isn't
the
it?
circle.
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Hey, don't do that.
What?
I'm talking to my computer.
Oh, okay.
You don't do that either.
Like my cords have been buzzing a lot,
Mm,
and so I just put stuff on top of it and hope it's not going to fuck around and not try not to move.
okay. That's because sometimes I wonder if I'm. Well, I just if I bump that, it does the same thing. So neither of us will know if it's the other person or us. So that should be fun.
Well, I won't remember to do anything about it until next time we're in the middle of recording.
Yeah, everyone just stay really still. Except Luke can do what
Okay.
he wants. Yeah.
I can always do what I want.
Okay, let's do this then, I guess. You want to do this, right?
1 second, let me just save my game.
What?
This
It's one of those
podcast.
games you have to save.
Are we doing a Death Stranding podcast?
Yeah.
Yes. What's that?
Well, for one thing, your mother is the president of the United States and she has cancer and you have to throw her body in an incinerator. That's the first 10 minutes.
Okay, that's cool. Why not? Okay, I'll do this thing. Welcome to Time Enough Podcast. It's where we delve into the episodes of the classic Twilight Zone and beyond. As always, this is Matt here. Joining me today is Mark. Hi,
As
Mark.
As not always, it's Mark.
That's right. And then here by special request. So if you do want to get on Patreon at Podcastio Podcastius and give us weird requests, you can say, I want Luke to be on the episode. Will the real Martian please stand up? And then he says,
I'm Slim Shady, the real Slim Shady. All you other Slim Shaders are just imitators. So what the real Slim Shady, please stand up. Please stand up.
you only have to remember like 6 words for that. That's the great part.
Hmm?
That's like, I guess that's modern rap. You just, is that mumble rap? This like you mumble
Matt, that
6
song
words?
is 30 years old.
No, I know that's not mumble rap. I'm just saying that maybe
Okay.
that's pioneering in that.
You mean
know,
like Gucci
hey,
Gang, Gucci 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 Gang, Gucci
yeah,
Gang, Gucci Gang?
that's pretty easy to remember. I think I could even
Yeah.
manage that. Where
Now you want to get into British drill where it's all really, really complex lyrics.
Yeah, where it's like, yeah, it's names of subway stops that you never heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
Right.
favorite thing they do is where they'll have like a clever lyric and then just explain the reference afterwards. So I'm doing Hadoukens, Street Fighter. I'm igniting cigarettes, got a lighter, stuff like that.
yeah, I definitely had a Dizzy Rascal phase like 20 years ago, and there were a few of my friends who are just like, I don't know what he's talking about, dude. I can't get into it. And I'm just like, I don't
I
know.
love Dizzy, but unfortunately the Japanese karaoke only has 2 Dizzy songs, so my friends are sick of hearing them. One
I
of them's
can't say.
Bonkers, obviously.
I was gonna say, is one of them the song that I'm gonna get bleeped out if I say the name of it on the podcast? Probably
I
not.
hope so. I didn't
Although
know.
Matty loves to put on tracks where every other word is the N word, but he can't bring himself to say it.
I told him just to find like another word to substitute,
just
like
say cracker or something. It's fine.
yeah. Honky.
Also, he is so insecure he always has to gender swap the songs.
Oh
So
man.
he can't
that's no
sing about
fun.
he can't bring himself to sing about dude.
Just own it.
Oh man.
I love doing Material Girl at karaoke.
Yeah.
I guess I should turn the lens on this episode though and do some trivia for will the real Martian please stand up? Will the real? That's a little hard to say.
Well,
Well,
all
if
the real
you're
Martians.
Marshall Mathers.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
the real Marshall.
Very
Mathers.
easy for him to say it, very fast.
You had to teach me how to say Jason Statham. So on air, that's a
Statham?
lesson. That's an on-air lesson. Yeah.
It's Statham, right?
Did I get it wrong
Statham?
again? Oh, the lesson
Is it Statham or is it Statham?
Jason Statham.
Stath. Okay.
I've always, to be honest, maybe I'm wrong, and I've been getting it wrong all the time. It is Statham.
I
Okay.
thought it was Statham. I don't know.
Maybe he's secretly not working class, and he lives in a stately Statham manor.
Statham.
We'll go ahead and give it to Luke. Whatever Luke says is the pronunciation. I'm not trying. I'm not here to correct anyone whose country I've never even been to. Well, unless you count Japan as your country, I've been there.
Not yet.
Not your country yet. You haven't taken it over yet.
No, I plan to get citizenship one day.
Okay. Okay.
Does it take 10 years or something? I can't remember.
For permanent residence, it takes 10 years. For citizenship, I think you can do it quite quickly, but it requires passing some language tests that I'm nowhere near.
Me neither.
Okay. What was I doing? I was doing trivia. I got derailed from my own railings. Okay.
Trivus, baby.
Yeah.
Original air date was May 26, 1961. Script is by Rod Serling. Director Montgomery Pittman set his lens on television and directed episodes of Maverick and 77 Sunset Strip, as well as a bit more of The Twilight Zone. We've already seen our Martian, John Hoyt, in The Lateness of the Hour. You'll also find him in films like When Worlds Collide and Flesh Gordon, and he is our original Doctor in the Star Trek pilot, The Cage. Crazy Avery was played by Jack Elam. He also played his own rogues gallery as a Western movie villain all over the place. His misaligned eye, stemming from a childhood accident, gave him that special sauce. Our Venusian cook was Barney Phillips. We've seen him before in The Purple Testament and A Thing About Machines. We catch up with him in season 4 of The Twilight Zone. Phillips also appeared in a variety of TV appearances. His role as Ed Jacobs on Dragnet, probably holding the most cultural stock. That's all I got for trivia. I think I actually just got sleepy
I actually did recognize that I'd seen these guys elsewhere. So Give me a point for that one, I guess.
and I missed last time John Hoyt showed up. I forgot to put the cage in his trivia. Actually, I did this time too, but I was reading. I was like, oh crap, I got to just add that now, don't I? I can't do that twice.
Yeah, this is a weird one because everyone in the episode pretty much had equal screen time. So it's like, who is the star of this? I mean, obviously the Martian, but
yeah. So I kind of I was like, I could do trivia for like the next 8 years, or
Oh yeah, because like your point of view characters are the two cops, right? So I guess they would be the main characters.
The most competent cops the world has ever seen.
Yeah, I think my first note or something refers to the Keystone Cops. So,
I mean, they were incredibly focused, but also eventually they were just like, well, you guys can go.
It's like, what are the odds that the Martian happened to land the one part of the world where both cops on duty are Mulder? It's like, Martian? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was like they were both detectives, basically. It's like, well, all right.
But they were both just like incredibly willing to believe that this was like a real Martian and not a prank.
Yeah, they jumped within just seconds. They jumped from "this is serious, we have to do this" to well, bridge is fixed. You guys can all go.
They were literally just bored, I guess.
Even sugar packs were exploding. They're just like, well, can't keep you here.
The car tells them what to do. The car radio, I guess. As for the prologue, I don't know. You could rock, scissors, paper for the prologue.
Are we gonna just alternate words
or sentences? You want to alternate sentences?
All right.
Okay. I guess Mark first then, because he noted the idea.
Okay. Wintry February night, the present.
Order of events. A phone call from a frightened young woman, notating the arrival of this is a really long sentence, unidentified flying object. Then the checkout you've just witnessed, with 2 state troopers verifying the event, but with nothing more enlightening to add beyond evidence of some tracks leading across the highway to a diner.
You've heard of trying to find a needle in a haystack?
Well, stay with us now, and you'll be part of an investigating team whose mission is not to find that proverbial needle. No, their task is even harder.
They've got to find a Martian in a diner. In just a moment, you'll search with them because you've just landed in the Twilight Zone. That was kind of like I was the Flavor Flav and you were the Chuck D.
Yeah, as I'll say, Luke, I got the short end of that stick, or at least if being lazy was the goal.
Yeah, I mean, I got the long end of the stick.
Okay, yeah, good point. Just while doing some random observations, they don't say UFO in this. They just keep saying unidentified flying object, don't they?
I mean, I guess UFO was pretty new phrase.
I was trying to think
50s.
I was trying to think of when that would really take hold because they never abbreviate it and they say it like 4 times.
Do you reckon the TV show UFO helped popularize the phrase UFO?
That could be the case. Yeah, I was just sitting here wondering about the lineage of when that like entered the pop culture phenomenon, because I guess in the 50s they would have been referring to the flying saucers more, and
I think they've ditched UFO now. It's like UAO or something.
It's like UAP, I think.
Yeah, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Oh, because it could be like
usually it's not an object, right? It's just like some lightning or something.
Plasma orb or something.
I think they're trying to make people not get too excited about results.
Well, then in Japan, you've got the opposite, where they all know the phrase UFO, but they don't actually know what it stands for.
That's right. Wasn't there like a band called UFO or something like that, Matt?
There was a prog rock band from England called UFO.
Yeah, I was thinking there was something from Japan,
but
there's something Japanese called UFO or UFO. But
there's a noodle called UFO, and also they call the claw machines UFO catchers.
We actually have some of those now.
How
rigged are they? Though that's the question.
I think I've won one thing in them. Like the round ones here, they have them set up. They're pretty friendly. Like they're relatively not as rigged. Or probably because you're probably paying like $5 just to even play them. Those are all cards. And
well, it's like
currency
Matty, who
is.
we've already given a lot of shit on this episode. When I first met him, he would brag how good he is at playing those games, and then it turns out that his idea of good at it is just he pours money into them. Like, he's better at them than me. He has won me a few things, but like, it's not like he goes in and wins everything on the first coin or something.
That would be a good skill. I'm sure there's some people in Japan, like the people that used to like just own the Dance Dance Revolution machines. There's got to be people that own the UFO catchers.
Well, if they are, there's a setting in any of those machines where like the tension on the claw, you could set the tension on the claw to work every so often.
Yeah, it's like set to a timer, right? So that
it's like,
some people will win.
If you play 4 times in a row, then you're guaranteed to at least have tension in the claw. If you mess up when there's tension, then you messed up.
Yep.
Like last time I went to the arcade, I had one that was like on the way to the thing and it bounced out of the tube. So I was just like, screw this. I just walked off and didn't play any more claw machine that night. But
someone should make like a Vegas scam, count the numbers sort of movie, but it's all about claw machines and timing them and stuff. Like they got their little notebook with equations.
Oh, people do, I'm sure. No, the trick in Japan is just you look really sad about not being able to win something in front of the staff, and they'll move it to an easier position for you.
Yeah.
Because they are actually willing to let you win at the Japanese ones compared to the like fairs in the UK.
Yeah, I think the round 1 machines, it's sort of like there's like little platforms. They put the things on it, and you're supposed to knock it off into the hole with the claw, which I don't even know if that's standard or if that's like just a Japanese thing. But if the thing falls off the platform, you could be like, "Hey, can you put this back up?" But anyway.
Taking 3 steps back to UFO, which
UFO.
Yeah, because I was thinking, and here they come from Mars and Venus, not too far, like doable. But we were reasonably sure that these guys are not going to be coming from either of those planets. In reality,
when did Sci-Fi ditch that? I guess it was Star Trek, right?
Where we get out of the solar
post
system.
Star Trek, nothing came from Mars and Venus anymore.
Right. Like Forbidden Planet got out of the solar system.
That's true.
But that's also a Star Trek precursor, right? So they're specifically from planets that 5 years later, we had landed something on, or 10 years, I guess, for Venus. But
it's like, do we have telescopes that were even particularly good at looking at anything beyond the solar system before this point? Because I know there's definitely
still think Mars had canals in 1960s.
I think no one really like people who actually knew what they were talking about didn't think that past like 1900.
Carl Sagan would laugh at you at 1961.
But the idea had gotten into the popular consciousness. Like, I think in terms of actual scientists, no one believed that for more than like a week. It's like, and I think it's like that's just the French word for like lines.
I was just going to throw out the concept that since that's out, the UFOs would have to come from another solar system across vast reaches of space, which seems quite impractical. I mean,
that's the thing. There is a type of realism that like someone from Mars or Venus would look at our planet and be interested in it. It doesn't make as much sense if it's someone from like 70 light years away.
Well, I was thinking maybe part of the mental switch to UAP being the aerial phenomenon is that seeds the idea that what you're seeing is from Earth, maybe like multi-dimensional or something. Like they're
not from space; they're from the space between spaces.
Yeah. But that seems reasonable. Now these guys clearly that doesn't pertain to this episode, of course, because they're clearly from. Well, we trust they're from where they say they are, but
it may be that 50 years from now, fiction it'll look really dated and silly to see something like aliens made a huge trip across space. Like maybe multi-dimensional aliens will make more sense, because in a way they do make more sense. In a way that's the only thing that makes sense. Because nobody...
Yeah, but it's not as fun.
Nobody...
Or is it, it is fun, but it's a different fun, right? I like traveling the stars, Star Trekking. Yeah,
for sure. Especially for a series, but... It's like if you think of it, the shoe on the other foot. It's like you want to go on this voyage where you're going to die or live for 700 years, or your grandchildren will have to do something. I guess that's also good for TV series. Anyway, so who guessed who the Martian was? Because I definitely did.
Well, it was literally just between him and the goofy old man, right?
Yeah.
It's not gonna be that's too obvious. So.
I felt like that is the kind of guy who Rod Serling kind of hates.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, of course that guy's the Martian. This corporate douchebag who's in a hurry.
So I think I figured out why your guest asked me to do this one, or why your fan asked me to do this one. It's because this is the ending we had in the Fantastic Mr. whatever his name was.
Mr. Dingle?
Yeah, but here it's not. They're not doing like a stupid ass performance.
That's kind of where I'm getting at.
Makes sense.
Like, is this a comedy episode? Because the twist is so goofy. Fun goofy, but it kind of makes it feel like a comedy episode. But I was like, until that scene, I guess it's kind of not.
No, there is the old guy is having a laugh with it, and it's like it could have been played for like a really tense The Thing, Among Us kind of thing, but it wasn't really. I think it was a lighthearted episode.
Yeah, so
and the twist is a bit of fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's it. It's not overdoing it on like bad '60s comedy. It's just lightly funny. This is a good comedy episode.
Yeah, and this also has what I've come to really appreciate from season 2 Twilight Zone episodes. It's just that there was a twist I wasn't looking for, which is the bartender from patrons are from Mars and bartenders are from Venus.
Yeah, sure. The other thing we talked about a lot of Mr. Dingle was how that bar is like kind of a UK pub vibe. And just didn't make sense. Whereas this one definitely
the American diner, very
nails the rural Waffle House 3 a.m. vibe. I think. Mark, do you want to disagree with that?
Not at all. This is a very Waffle House episode. I rate this 5 out of 5.
Is that the new bottle episode? The Waffle House episode.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there are still diners like this, not too far from where I live. You can find stuff like maybe not open in the middle of the night anymore, but that's COVID's fault.
So I guess, Luke, my question for you is if this makes sense from the UK perspective. Well,
that's the thing. We do have this in the UK, but it's also in the pub.
Right. So
you go to the pub at night to get wankered, but you go to the pub in the day to just have like a roast dinner and one Swiss pint.
Maybe UK police would also not shoot everyone. Like I was thinking,
they were acting more like UK police than American police.
Yeah, because I was just like, I would put in my notes of like they would just be frustrated and they would just start hitting people because like, no, you listen, who's the Martian? Who's the Martian? It's funny because it's sad.
Yeah, tying them to chairs in the back and pummeling them until they tell them they're a Martian or something.
I mean, they just chain up all the doors.
Getting drops of blood and tasering it.
Yeah. I guess that would be the remake of this one. I was reading some comments somewhere that people saying a lot of the later remakes in the later series would like kind of darken up everything. Like no one can like get out of the Twilight Zone and learn a lesson or something, where they can in the 60s. In the 60s they can, but
there's almost like a 50-50 mix of like incredibly dark twist endings and then like kind of uplifting endings so far that I've seen.
This one's just
whereas the
weird.
reputation of Twilight Zone, right, is just like every single episode ends by messing you up.
Yeah, my mom won't watch it anymore. She introduced me to it as a kid and loved it when she was younger, and she's like, I won't watch it anymore. It's too dark. I'm like,
yeah.
But she just watches Matlock.
If it works better if it's not obvious, because if every single episode just ends with a dark twist, then you're like, I don't care, right?
For sure.
I have the same problem with modern horror films. In a modern horror film, no one gets away alive. So I'm not invested in any of the characters. Whereas back in the 80s and 90s, one of the girls is going to escape, right? So you have like an investment in, I hope this one lives. Whereas I watch something these days, it's just like, well, I know every single one of them is going to die. And if it looks like one of them survives, they're going to die at the end. So,
although this one, I guess, does have a relative, well, it's a dark ending for John Hoyt's character because he's just been told that his entire race has been genocided, basically. So,
well, at least his whole ship has been taken.
Well, his fleet, or whatever. So,
I mean, didn't he just kill a bunch of people in a bus? So,
desserts,
right?
I totally forgot that he killed everyone on the bus. That is kind of tough.
This is a dark ending. Okay.
Because they don't show it or anything. He just sort of turns up and says like,
No.
"Oh yeah, I dumped them all in the bridge. They're all dead."
Yeah, the bridge collapsed.
That's how
You know,
cold-blooded
Because
this
I,
is.
for a
Okay.
second, thought that there was no Martian at all, and it was gonna like twist. It was actually a ghost story.
I sort of assumed the Martian was going to just show up after everyone left. Feel like,
Well, he
yeah, there
kinda
were
did.
7 people.
You know
he
what?
did.
You know what you would do now, or at least I would do. The bus is the Martian. It was a transformer.
No, I need to
the
go to
jukebox
England
is the Martian.
and make friends.
There was a moment where it like zoomed in on the jukebox after everyone left, and I thought that's where they were going.
I mean,
You were
if
expecting a transformer in 1961?
Not a transformer, just that the jukebox was the alien. We've had a possessed gambling machine. It's not that far off.
I mean, they wouldn't necessarily have its parts all interlocked. They would just like have it fade into a person or something like that. You know,
Oh, that yeah.
That's not out of the question for the show. I don't think.
I do want to take these 6 people and kind of decide like how much they potentially could have been the Martian. Let's start with the married couples because they seem like the least chance.
Well, they did that brief thing of like suddenly even the couple suspected each other.
Is it you? Is it you? Well, I know, but
Yeah,
so that would work
nice
if it wasn't for the fact that we know the number had increased, right? So the Martian hadn't usurped someone; it had added itself to the group.
Right. So yeah, I mean they were pretty much they play the drama / comedy, the dramedy, you know, for about 30 seconds, right? Just
yeah, but
just
there was no,
because otherwise people might be like, oh, well, wouldn't the married couples maybe suspect each other, you know? So
yeah.
But yeah, the young ones are going to burn out in the newlywed game, and the old ones are going to burn out in the oldie-wed game. So sure.
Yes, and the stripper was ogled, so she's off the table.
Dancer. This is 1961.
Sorry, yes.
Well, there was the intimation that that was her dancing style. I again in 22, it just blew my mind that once someone's fine like she's a stripper, and the rest of the time it's dancer. But sorry, Mark, I don't think you got your stripper call out this time.
This show has been very nice to dancers, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a job, right? So
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess you gotta say. We always say like Rod Serling is like this semi-accidental proto-feminist. He's pretty sex worker positive.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of other things, just like human meat. Here you go, sex worker. Into the wood chipper with you in the first 5 minutes. That's like
even Star Trek, right? It had some pretty unfortunate stuff with like Orion slave girls and whatever.
I mean, did you guys ever watch that Indian film, The Robot, that I recommended? It has a very problematic thing where he sees a woman changing, and then the movie just like basically just throws her in front of a car. It's like she's like, "No, you shouldn't have looked at that woman while she was changing." It's like that.
I think the script's sharp enough that it's not like condescending, which is nice. In that I am thinking, oh come on, the bus driver would have noticed the cleavage, and right at that moment is about when he's like, yeah, of course I noticed her.
Oh yeah, he rescued her while the house was on fire, while she was like not dressed. So yeah, then she died because she has to die, because that's the level that movie. Anyway,
what?
Enough about that.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about this episode.
Oh yeah, Mark's back on his Indian.
Back
movie.
on my anti-feminist Indian movie criticism. Anyway, 14 cups of coffee.
Could
yeah.
Right.
That's the Martian.
That's more than me. I max out at like 6 or 7. 14 isn't.
I don't always keep count because it's just a machine at work that I can just put my cup under and press a button and I have coffee.
See, I drink less coffee because at the school I work at, the coffee tastes
like absolute ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, I only have to go to that school once a week, so.
I can't imagine Japanese coffee tasting bad. Where do you guys even find it? Every time
I think it's just we have a big coffee machine that's just not cleaned.
There are vending machines right outside the door.
Coffee machine.
Yeah, there are vending machines right outside the door, so you can get some decent, vending machine coffee, which in Japan is decent. I haven't been to Starbucks in here. I'm like, why would I do that when I can just get it from the
Well,
machine?
I go to the Starbucks once a season to get the new sugary monstrosity and try that, but not for actual coffee.
I hope that's the name of the
I
next
mean-
one, the sugary monstrosity.
I mean, sometimes I pay $3 for a can of Japanese coffee here that's like who knows how old it is, and it's still better than most of the coffee we get here.
On my walk to work, I have a 50 yen coffee machine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is there any way that this episode ends satisfyingly and Crazy Eye is the Martian?
I guess
If
in some way he was benevolent, like he was the Martian who was there to stop them crossing that bridge because they would have died or something. He was like a Mothman.
Okay.
I think
like
it
needs the second level twist if that's
that would be
the
cool. Yeah, if he like helped everyone survive.
Mm.
I was thinking that maybe if he just turned around and then just started screaming and then killed everybody.
Oh no! If it did go dark and the cops were killing everyone because they thought they were the Martian, and that was like his plan all along, and he was like some master manipulator.
Or if he just stopped them from killing, I don't know, one of the other people.
Yeah,
by
they
exploding them like the sugar packets, the sugar holders. I don't think that would have happened.
Yeah,
but yeah, if he's just going to play it straight, then no, it's not very satisfying for him to be the Martian.
It was it was almost too obvious, but he was really entertaining though.
Yeah. But he also literally says he's the Martian like 3 times.
Because he just doesn't care anymore, you know? I like to think about recasting, of course, just for fun. One of the cops looked an awful lot like Jeremy Renner, who probably doesn't like snow anymore. Hopefully he recovers soon. But the one guy just had a Renner face, I thought.
Yeah.
And then I really was thinking, no, or Crazy Old Coot in here is fantastic, but for a different energy, I just started imagining like kind of a contemporary-ish, maybe like 10 years ago, Donald Sutherland in the role. That could have been fun too.
Yeah.
He come through crazy without having, well, he's obviously his eye does not do what this guy's eye does, but he's got the stare, right? The penetrating stare.
Or like Willem Dafoe.
Ooh, Dafoe would have been good. Dafoe could have played either of the old guys really well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or both.
Yeah, both.
But then it's less of a like, who's the Martian? It's just like a which one of these two is the Martian, but that's still fun.
Yeah. I mean, well, they all die in the end, I guess, so that's not great. But I mean, they're not quite having to deal with like the Thing situation, you know? I mean, we don't have shapeshifters at least. We just have hidden things, you know, like third eyes.
3 arms. I thought the 3-arm thing looked cool. What did you guys? The 3-arm thing looked pretty well, better than the third eye.
Reminded me of T2.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, the third eye still looked better than Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's a nice iconic third eye. I'm pretty sure you can get an action figure of that particular character.
Although if I had a third eye I was hiding, I would use like a more substantial hat than that tiny little chef's hat he had.
Well,
just asking for it to slip.
We all have the vestigial eye stuff there, right? So it's there, kind of ish.
No, all I'm saying is he had that little tiny paper hat, so it would be so easy for it to slip.
Yeah, well, maybe he's got it stapled onto his head because he's a Venusian and, you know, he doesn't feel pain.
Ow. I guess if he doesn't feel pain, then never mind that I said ow.
I think we got through. Oh yeah, we've gotten through everybody except for the actual Martian, I guess. But
yeah, the actual Martian, who's the kind of guy Rod Serling hates. So it's just like, well, cool.
Is it a bummer that they went with the non-assuming guy? Like you know, and one thought, well, the non-assuming guy's the Martian, which does turn out to be the case. Is there any way you could? I guess you have to have the second twist with this because the first one's never going to be satisfying.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, it's like any basic murder mystery. It's just like one of these guys did it. Oh, it was that one. Like you have to have some extra little spice, right?
Yeah, I didn't think Knives Out was like I thought Knives Out was a pretty good movie, but I didn't think that it was like a mind-blowing, like total.
I really liked Knives Out because it does a great job of making you think you know the answer from the start and then giving you a different answer.
But it's still an answer that falls. It still feels like it plays by the rules of murder mysteries. It just has a few extra steps.
I mean, yeah, not both of those films I love, but not for their murder mysteries, just for the character and the commentary and the comedy of it. Have either of you listened to the game show that came out yesterday?
That's
I
too
think
recent.
I
Oh,
just finished like Christmas time, so I'm about a month
Okay.
behind.
You've got an episode featuring Benoit Blanc to look forward to.
All right, awesome.
oh, yeah, I saw that you got murdered. Okay, but I haven't heard it yet. um, any random observations you want to throw out otherwise?
um, I think we've hit everything. It's one of those episodes that's just they could have gone really tense and it could have been an all-time classic, or they could have gone very wacky and it could have been an all-time like low. But they found a nice middle ground, and it's just like, yep. I watched an episode of the Twilight Zone. I feel
Okay.
Twilight Zoned right now.
What
Yeah,
do you
I enjoyed this a lot. This was sort of, it wasn't the smartest episode ever, but it was thoroughly entertaining, and the second twist really kind of makes it where it's like, yeah, that's why I watch this stuff.
What are you gonna order at the restaurant? I wrote down gonna get
14 cups of coffee.
Okay, chili bowl and a malt is what I wrote down.
I'll have
breakfast.
Leave me the jug of Joe, and I'll have some bacon, eggs, and grits.
Okay, I was afraid you were
Nice.
going to order an English breakfast. You wouldn't get that here, but
No, I want to try an American breakfast. I don't even know what grits are. I want to try them.
You know,
what is a
we
grit?
weren't a grit. The America is so regional that I grew up in the South and didn't have grits until I was like 12 because my family wasn't like a grits family. And then by the time I was in I didn't like them at first, but eventually I did. It's sort of just like if you made corn into like some kind of hash. It's very corn tasting, but like a little bit blander. I don't know.
So it's one of those things that America invented because they just have so much corn and nothing else.
Yeah, basically. It's like how we make all of our drinks out of corn now.
Unfortunately, my family is originally mid-Atlantic, so I too probably didn't have grits till I was 12, but I did grow up eating scrapple.
Okay, I still haven't had that. That's just like a fat.
No.
It's a grilled chunk of fat.
It's it's where you just take all the parts of the pig that you're just not going to use for anything else, the lips and assholes, and mixing those together.
Oh, okay. It just sounds like a pork scratching.
Probably something along that line, sure. But yeah, it's notorious. Like I loved it as a kid, and then when I figured out what it was and was old enough to know what it was, I suddenly didn't like it anymore.
Yeah, it just tastes like the crunchy bit of a pork chop. But a whole bag of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the Pennsylvania variety is a little different than the UK one, but yeah, the general idea probably holds.
But like Luke, if you get a chance to have specifically shrimp and grits, that's the way to go. Is get it with shrimp.
I'm very bad with seafood.
Never mind.
The point that last weekend, Rob tried to get me to eat just like a real basic ass fried shrimp, and I nearly vomited.
Oh no!
And it's all in my head because it's like, yeah, it tastes fine, it tastes like a chicken nugget, but I know I'm eating a sea bug, so I want to throw this back up.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
But like,
it does feel like stepping on a roach when you eat them, but
shrimps in particular, right? It's like we don't eat land bugs. Why is everyone so okay eating sea bugs?
We'll be eating land bugs soon.
Yeah,
it's because value is assigned to them. It's like lobster used to be food for poor people, but now it costs too much because
here in Japan, there's fucking. Sorry, Matt. There's just like basically caviar, just like on a sandwich at the convenience store.
So, are you okay with eating caviar? Because it took me a long time to be able to eat that.
Oh no, that like I said, I won't even eat just like some cod. I ain't even caviar.
Okay, gotcha.
I've got a little wider range, but yeah, our last company party, they found the fishiest place possible, and even I was like, I cannot go past. I can eat the sashimi plate, and that's about it.
My meal that day was just a pitcher of beer. I say a pitcher of beer. I think it might have been 2 or 3 by the end.
Well, you got to get your calories.
Yeah,
that's what
I don't know. Like ancient Europeans did, right? That's how they got their calories.
This thing, I still don't like ketchup or mayonnaise. So I mean, I'm not going to criticize anybody for what they won't eat because I'm like,
I'll chuck ketchup and mayonnaise on anything. As a child, my favorite meal was cucumber and ketchup.
All right. I do love
Mark's
cucumber.
processing. Better with
I don't know.
miso though, I would say.
I'll
But then
try anything once, except probably not like eyeballs.
It depends what kind of eyeball, yeah.
Have you
What
done
about a
that? Have you?
testicle?
I guess I'd prefer try that than trying eyeballs, but maybe not. I don't know. Well, then I don't know. There's something that freaks me out about the amount of time that it took animals to evolve eyeballs. I had this conversation at a party because I'm really fun at parties, where I was like terrified of like getting any kind of eye wounds because of like the incredible unlikeliness that we even evolved eyes in the first place.
Okay, I get it.
Well, we can all eat in this diner at least. This is some pretty plain Jane servings that anyone can handle.
Pancakes,
I think.
bacon, 14 cups of coffee.
Well, if you're a vegan, you might have some problems here, but you can have the
14 cups of
coffee. Yeah, that's my prescription.
Unless
you should
they
become
made
a
it with
doctor.
bacon grease.
You should become a doctor and make that your prescription for everybody that comes in.
Yeah, I've prescribed to you 3 additional cups of coffee. Well, feeling lethargic, are we?
I mean, that is how I treat like sickness. It's just that I medicate with caffeine.
Yeah, I medicate with either caffeine or water, basically.
That makes sense. Who in this episode went into the Twilight Zone?
Everyone on that bus and everyone on the bridge, basically. They met a Martian and then got murdered by him.
Everyone except the Martian and the Venusian, because
maybe the Martian went to the Twilight Zone when he got here and discovered that Venus had beaten to it.
That's where I was.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like he should have known the Venus guy was doing that was at least a possibility. Like they're on the same playing field.
Because his laugh at the end, that made me. That was a good
out.
that was a good no, but the cook, the short order cook, the Venusian laughs at the end, right? And that's kind of like, ha ha ha, you're in the Twilight Zone now, sort of laugh. So
and then Venus like music plays.
Yeah, it's like kind of a oral, like finger pointing that you're in the Twilight Zone. So I actually
an oral fingering.
Yes, something like that. Finger like pointing.
I mean, on Venus, that's what we call
how they get their kicks on Venus. Yeah,
yes,
but
pointing.
To me, the laugh at the end basically said like, "Oh, the Martian is our Twilight Zone victim in this episode."
I could go with that, even though I still think it's I guess if everyone died except for them, then there's
there's only 2
we've already
choices,
established
really.
that death is not the Twilight Zone.
But they did have a mightily weird experience.
Sometimes when it is.
Yeah, they had a weird
sometimes
experience.
you go to death through the Twilight Zone.
Because sometimes people die in these episodes without actually experiencing the weirdness of the episode, whereas everyone here at least experiences the weird, like there's a Martian situation. They don't get the final twist because they're dead, but yeah. So maybe they're like they had a feature showing of the Twilight Zone but didn't enter it. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I mean, we don't know. Maybe the Martian absorbed all of them, and they're all looking at it through his eyes. Maybe
we can but dream.
Luke, were you gonna spit some fire on the concept here?
No.
Okay, sorry. It looked like you were gonna say something, and
I made like a little dumb comment. Maybe it didn't come through.
Oh, okay. Here we go. So, yeah, actually, I feel like we're still unsettled on who went through the Twilight Zone. That's fine because I'm not trying to like convince you it's the Martian. I like the idea it's other people, So
no, I was on board with the Martian.
I think it's more interesting to say the Martian did, so I'm going to go ahead and go with that.
I did convince you then. Okay, not even trying.
Yeah.
So
this is an abstract concept.
Let's focus on him then. Does he deserve his voyage through the Twilight Zone?
I mean, he's a colonizer, so he does everything yet.
He just murdered a bus of people.
Well, that's what colonizers do.
Yeah. I mean, he is like an enemy combatant, right, in this conflict.
Yeah, they're not. They're civilians.
Oh no, not the bus people. The
Martian and the Venusian are.
They deserve. Well, again, it's like the power balance at the end of this episode is Venusian on top, right? So
yeah,
he showed up. He was a jerk to everybody, and then murdered them. So yeah, he deserves to go to the Twilight Zone, or to lose the eternal battle of one other planet versus that other planet.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with
I
that.
mean, who knows if the Venusians are going to be worse than Martians would be, but it's not their problem.
I mean, does it really matter who your new alien overlord is in this case? You probably get the same thing. You probably have different annoyances. Like
one of them won't let you go to the bathroom but 3 times a day, and the other one will just
you have to go to the bathroom 30 times a day.
Don't look at me. I voted for Kodos.
Yeah, basically.
So that kind of situation, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose we'll tripometer it. 0 to 5 as always, or interesting noises. Luke, why don't I put you on the spot for this first?
Gucci gang, 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 Gucci gang.
Okay, that's Luke's rating. Not rating, score. It's a score. Mark?
I'm going to give this 4 Gucci gangs out of 5.
Okay, why? Oh, Luke,
That's
how many Gucci
trippy.
gangs was that?
I'm going to give it 3 arms out of 3 eyes.
Okay. I'll go with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's trippy, right?
This is like absolute baseline Twilight Zone trippiness, right?
That's kind of where I was.
This is literally like I fed 50 Twilight Zones into an AI and it wrote this.
Like I wasn't thinking in that 2.53 range. Never quite settling which one I want to do it on, because for me, yeah, again, the third eye, you could be like, that's trippy, or you could be like, that's a derpy effect, and I don't consider it as trippy, I guess.
It still looks way better than Mr. Dingle's aliens, which I just laughed hysterically the second they showed up.
Yeah.
And the entire time they were on the screen. You know, it doesn't, trippy could still be, it doesn't have to be, it can be cheap and still be trippy. I think just the trippy thing is that we realize we're on a larger playing field than we thought we were. We thought this was just an intimate mystery, but this is actually a galactic game of chess.
It's like Signs.
I didn't really see that. I heard it was bad.
On the Shyamalan spectrum, it's probably near the higher end.
Interesting.
That's not saying much.
It's got a couple of really good scares and great atmosphere. It makes absolutely no sense if you go back to it a second time.
I actually, yeah, well, I've seen at least twice. I remember liking it fine. It's worth a.
No, yeah, but it doesn't make any sense.
There's one where I'm like, I don't know if it's worth a view in 2023. I mean, we're watching this 1961 show. It's fine, but I don't know.
This holds up better than Signs.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this holds up better.
I don't know.
I think this holds up better than Unbreakable, which most people consider a really good film.
Yeah, I didn't even like that. I saw that opening night, and I was not on board opening night for that.
I don't think any Shyamalan film is good after the first time you watch it.
I would watch Split again because that was pretty straightforward. It was just like James McAvoy just acting a whole lot.
He is good at that.
He was just being 23 people.
The Village wasn't that bad until they decided they had to have a twist.
That's the thing. The twist ruined that movie instead of
twist
making it
up
better.
to that point, it was pretty good.
The twist was, it's nothing. You just wasted 2 hours.
That's the ultimate one. Yes. Okay. Oh yeah. Mark,
Captain America post credits twist.
I still wanted to drag out of you what the trippiest thing in this was for you. It was at the eye.
What was the? I think the sugar exploding. That was pretty trippy.
Exploding sugar, yeah, okay.
I think the problem with it was that nobody seemed to care, and then it didn't seem to escalate anything. It just was. It was like almost like fireworks going off. You were like, oh.
I have to read this.
That should have really freaked people out, like a lot.
I just noticed my late night note here. They should just have an orgy and see who feels weird. Only proper solution.
Oh, who's the square? Will the real square please stand up?
Well, yeah.
I thought you hadn't seen the ending of Knives Out, Matt.
That's why they call it Knives Out.
Okay. Yeah,
Metaphor.
right on. Okay. Well, I'm still waiting to watch that one when we get to it on our sci-fi podcast, weirdly enough.
Wait, you guys didn't already do that?
We thought
No,
about doing
we
it
had a
several
plan
times.
for a Star Wars month where it's going to be Willow, Spaceballs, Knives Out, and I can't remember what other one we had, but yeah.
I think sometimes you talk about doing a movie and then in my brain you've done it already, and then it's so weird.
Probably dreamed it.
Like I thought you'd done Zardoz, but you haven't done that, right?
Oh, Luke, you just missed out on big screen Zardos. Did you know that?
Oh, really?
It was shown at the Gondo Theater, but yesterday
Oh,
was the last day. I walked by yesterday. I was like, "Holy crap! There's a Zardos poster."
I don't walk up Gondor that often these days.
Yeah, but I know it was already like it was my lunch break, so it was already like 2:30. So no possibilities for you there.
I'd love to see Zardoz with Japanese subtitles.
Yeah, that's when that would be fantastic with Japanese subtitles. I feel like we've all splurted out what we wanted to say on this one, but any other points?
I continue to be really happy about season 2 Twilight Zones. This is the second half of this season has been a lot better than the second half of the first season. To me.
Yeah, I would go. I feel like first season has some higher highs, lower lows, but the second one definitely has some more consistency. If we just don't think about Mr. Dingle too hard.
Yeah, the Mr. Dingle is there, but it's just I feel like there were maybe 3 Mr. Dingles at the end of season 1, and
but none of them dangled quite as much, you know.
None of them dangled as much as Mr. Dingle.
I want to see Mr. Dingle dangle.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, dongles. That's what you call it on your phone, right?
Dongle is like
on
a
your
thing where you
phone?
plug into another thing.
Yeah.
If you plug headphones into your phone, you would use a dongle.
I mean,
right.
Only if you buy a stupid ass Apple phone.
Well, guilty.
Oops.
Galaxy, baby.
Hey, everyone said those were good for producing music, and
I can install whatever the fuck I want. Sorry,
they're
Matt.
not. They're
it's
not
even better
anymore.
than you've been apologizing every time.
They're not anymore. I got a new iPad and on the new iOS, and GarageBand is eating dirt. So I have to. I gave my old iPad to my daughter. Where I was like, Daddy's got to use it sometimes because he can't make music on the new one.
Is that how you said it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Daddy's got to use the iPad, baby.
I performed live with an iPad and it crashed on stage.
I want that to be the next song you put out, Matt. Daddy's got to use the iPad.
It's like that Tim and Eric song where it's like we're turning your room into the computer room, sung by Frank Stallone.
Don't you cry, it's not so bad. Daddy's got to use the iPad.
All right, now you have to do it.
Yeah, if you want to.
I'll write you the lyrics.
Nice.
So if you want to support the creation of this song and this podcast, you can find Time Enough Podcast on Twitter. It's on Facebook. It's under the Patreon umbrella of Podcastio Podcastius, where we also talk about science fiction films like Knives Out. Mark and I have been doing a run with The Prisoner, and I get weird with caught Disney movies, and we decided Mary Poppins is a deplorable witch. So
definitely, she's definitely a witch. I think she's a good witch, but I mean,
no, she's not. She lied.
No,
thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
So should she have been like
burned at the stake?
Put in a lake? Okay, I was gonna say put in a lake and had a building built on top of her to make sure she can't get out, but
yes,
burn at the stake's much more efficient.
Yes. And Luke, you do some video gaming. I should throw you the ball for that, I suppose.
Yeah, you can listen to our podcast, Game of the Year, where we pick a year from history, like 1362, and we imagine what games they'd have been playing in that year. Or you can check out my podcast, all about Zoombinis, where we review every single character from the Logical Adventures of the Zoombinis games.
All right. Deep diving, man.
Mm-hmm. And then you can also, of course, listen to my podcast, Muff Diving, which is an ASMR podcast of just me licking clit. I'm not sorry. It's up to you how much of that you believe.
Okay, so I will leave it to our listeners to vote on which of the three of us is the real Martian.
You vote for me or approve?
I think it's me.
Oh, you have listened.
Oh God.
Okay, I'll wrap it up then because you're going to the gym, methinks.
Yep.
And
I'll see you on another Zoom in a matter of hours.
Rightio. Laters.
Fuck yeah.
The